The United States has always had a complicated relationship with immigration. But recently, things have taken a dark turn. Deportations to Latin America are skyrocketing. This isn't just about sending people back to their home countries. The US is now shipping people to Latin America even if they've never set foot there before. It's a mess, and it's about to get worse. The Trump administration is making it happen. They're using Latin America as a dumping ground. They claim it's about law and order. But the reality is far more cynical. This is about politics. It's about appealing to a base driven by fear and xenophobia. This isn't just a story about numbers, it's about real people. Families are being torn apart, lives are being upended, and the human cost is staggering. We need to talk about this. We need to understand what's happening, and we need to hold those responsible accountable. The US has found a new way to outsource its immigration problems: third country deportations. This means sending non-Latin American nationals to Latin America. They hold them there temporarily, then send them back to their home countries. It's a logistical nightmare, and it's raising serious human rights concerns. Take Costa Rica, for example. On February 20th, 2025, they received 135 deportees. Half of them were children. These people came from Uzbekistan, China, Afghanistan, and Russia. They're being held in a former factory with no clear timeline for repatriation. Panama received 299 deportees earlier that week. Honduras was forced to facilitate the transfer of 170 Venezuelans. The US flew them in and then put them on a Venezuelan aircraft. The US claims it's covering the costs, but that does nothing to address the underlying issues. These countries are ill-equipped to handle this influx of people, and the whole process lacks transparency and oversight. Third country deportations are just the tip of the iceberg. The Trump administration is also ramping up direct deportations to Latin America. They're targeting countries like Colombia, Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. Colombian President Petro tried to resist. He was concerned about the treatment of deportees, but Trump threatened him. And Petro caved. Parole programs for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans? Gone. That's over 528,000 people directly affected. And then there's Venezuela. The US rescinded temporary protected status for 350,000 Venezuelans. Deportations could start as early as April 2025. Honduran President Castro tried to rally regional opposition. He failed. The US holds all the cards, and they're playing them ruthlessly. The human cost of these deportations is impossible to ignore. Families are being separated, people are being sent back to countries they barely know, and the trauma inflicted is immeasurable. Economically, this is a disaster waiting to happen. Latin American countries are already struggling. They can't handle a massive influx of deportees. It will strain their resources and destabilize their economies. And what about the US? Deportations will hurt local economies. Families rely on remittances. And the social fabric of communities will be torn apart. Human rights organizations are sounding the alarm. They're documenting abuses. They're providing legal aid. But they can't do it alone. We need to pay attention. We need to speak out. And we need to demand better. This isn't just about immigration, it's about basic human decency.